We are back. Nightcap with the doctors.
Yeah.
I mean, and here's what's deep. They're like real doctors. They're like earned academic people. They're like they ain't somebody who woke up and said, I want to be named doctor. They're like real doctors. Everybody, welcome to Nightcap. Listen, we want to encourage you to just like share, invite, because tonight we're gonna get heavy. As you know, our amazing, beautiful, incredible, highly intelligent, all of that co-host. She does all of that. Look at her. Look at it. She just all of that. And then of course, you know, every month, you know, we're still trying to get our day right. But every month, the Dr. Akeem Z. Walker, the Z stands for Zenith, because he's going to the highest heights possible.
Zenith?
Dr. Akeem Walker. Of any, because he ain't no millennial no more. He keeps trying to act like he's a young adult. He's old as hell.
He is a young adult.
Look at that hat. That hat is not a young adult hat. That hat is the hat of a bishop of a Pentecostal Holy Deliverance Church after he done laid hands on 87 people. That is not the hat of anybody, but what it is the hat of a tremendous brother. So, yes, what's going on, people?
Nothing.
It's got to be something.
Trying to figure it out, trying to enjoy this season and make sense of it. Thank you again, Bishop, for your vision and allowing me to hang out with you and the incomparable Dr. Sharice Nicole.
I know, right? Boy, if you didn't just say something true, incomparable.
Well, amen.
All day long, incomparable. We're excited because the numbers are growing, and so we're inviting everybody to jump on and be a part of this tonight. Tonight's gonna be amazing. I mean, you do know that, right?
It's gonna be amazing.
Tonight's gonna be amazing.
Yes, it is. And I have my board.
Yeah, I got my board too. We did not tell Akeem to bring his board. That's the only mistake we made. We didn't tell Akeem to bring his board.
But Akeem got something up his sleeve, though.
We got it.
He always does, doesn't he?
He does. This is my come through, gonna bring the heat guy. He got something.
Yeah, because last time y'all were on, and that time we had the sisters on with him, and he was the only brother. But man, that dude, that dude held up his end of the bargain. I was nervous,
as he always does.
Bishop, they had to choose. They should have chose the other target. They chose the wrong target.
You gonna go get one of my servants, huh?
Yeah,
I said you had to go there, didn't you?
Well, you know, we were working through some stuff. You know, we were working through some stuff openly. So, you know, we had to flesh it out.
Lord Jesus. So I see you got your colors on. Bishop, where your colors at? Because he's wearing black and gold. That was intentional.
I didn't even pay no mind. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm wearing this shirt. You can't scare me because
I have 3 daughters.
You can't scare me because I have 3 daughters. You want to know what's deep? This was my Christmas gift.
Lord Jesus, help.
Wow. This was a Christmas gift. And you know what's really weird is the older you get, the older I get, the less I care. Christmas to me is just being with them. I don't even require anything, you know. So yeah, so this one of my Christmas, and you know it's true because I got 3 daughters, and they have just toughened me for life. I ain't scared of none of y'all. I got 3 daughters.
Help us.
How about that? So yeah, the hat is clean though. I love the hat. Claude Cheatham said, "Clean hat, bruh." Brandon Moore, who just wants to be an alpha, said the colors are amazing. Brandon, you're no longer my spiritual son. So let's keep it moving. So tonight we're talking about what, sis? What are we talking about?
We're talking about Come on, sis. We're talking about.
I know, right? It slipped out. I don't even know where it came from.
Fly over me. But we're talking about career development.
Yes, taking advantage of this season.
Yeah.
One of my brothers who I normally preach for out of Syracuse, Darren Jaime, just said better than that whack Red Sox jersey. That's why I need to stop reading these comments. Hey, Darren, I'm gonna text you when this is over with because I can't say what I need to say. Okay. Yes, we're talking about careers, goals, all that kind of stuff. And here's what's crazy. I believe that this is one of the best seasons to excel because one, there will be assistance in business development if you got a legitimate plan. I sat down today, Akeem and Sharice, and talked to a young lady. She's going to be on next week. Okay. And I talked to this young lady and this young man. And actually, one of our members, Kiera Washington, hooked me up with them. And what's really amazing is that she talked about all of the opportunities through SBA that's out there for businesses to be not only maintained, but launched.
Wow.
I mean, and so for all of you who are sitting out there going, I don't know what to do and I don't know how I'm going to do it. If in this time, you are paralyzed by the virus, which is legitimate. I mean, we just lost another member, which broke my heart. But if you are paralyzed by it in terms of your dreams and your career, then you need to be angry at yourself because there's so many amazing opportunities out here. So Akeem, when you think of success in your career, what do you think of? Absolutely. Tamika Gaines Holly says small business administration. Absolutely. It could be your ally if you know how to work it. When you think of career and success, what do you think of?
So Bishop, can I piggyback off of what you just said for a second?
Sure.
If we believe as kingdom people that the wealth of the wicked is left for the righteous, right? That to your point, well, however you felt about the previous administration and however you feel about the current one thing that they have done is open the floodgates for businesses to be established and supported. However, if you've wasted this pandemic, at least by not being prepared, then you're going to be left out again because you can't gather your stuff and you had to already have your stuff in order, right? In order for you to be blessed by it. I think to your question about success, particularly in ministry, honestly now, because I would say a year ago, we managed ministry by road schedules, buildings, budgets, and bodies, right? So how many people clicked on our likes, how many people came to our churches, how big our budgets were, how many revivals you did, and all that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but now this pandemic was the great equalizer. So for me, I have had to define success by how am I staying connected with the people? So let's translate that into business to the customer. Then they have other options.
Right.
So if there are 1,000 or 1,500 people clicking your lives or your Bible studies or your motivational speeches or your store, we can't say that they're quote unquote ours unless we're finding ways to touch it. I sit in the seat of both senior pastor at the church I pastor, but then I'm on staff for 2 other major pastors and churches. And for me, my success has been walking 2 senior pastors that are old enough to be my father through this season of keeping them relevant and connected. Here it is. I've had to learn how to be Scottie Pippen while they're Michael Jordan and be okay with it.
Sure. Sharice, same question for you. What does success and look like as it relates to your career?
Success as it relates to my career during this pandemic is being able to touch and educate as many patients as I can as it relates to COVID-19. COVID-19 and metabolic disorders. What do I mean by that? I am a pharmacist in a neighborhood of predominantly Black geriatric patients, meaning they're over the age of 65, and most of them have hypertension, diabetes, cholesterol, thyroid disorders. If I can educate them on the importance of staying adherent and the importance of taking the medication and how COVID-19 affects them because they have these disorders, and make it click, that's success for me in this season. Most of my patients do not fear COVID-19, do not believe that it is real, and until it has touched one of their family members. And so this season, career success is me being able to make that impact in my community through working for the company that I do, outreach and all these other things embedded inside of the company. That's success.
Bishop, so can we ask you the same thing? I mean, you've been in ministry now 30 plus years. Yeah. That sounds crazy, from Virginia to Jacksonville, that you've been doing this. I mean, wow. And one thing that no one can deny in this season,
he's amazing at it.
You have been the king of reinvention. Like, you have reinvented yourself like 6 times in the last year. Like, let's not even talk about 30. Like, you've gone from bishop to mentor to life coach to therapist to business guru. So how are you now having to define success after being in ministry all your life?
Success for me is the ability to navigate fear and not be paralyzed by the uncertainty. It's real interesting to me because a part of what I went into the pandemic with was a narrow understanding of leading a church. And I'm coming out of it with this broad understanding of my uniqueness.
Wow.
I went in as a pastor, and I'm coming out as an entrepreneur who sees himself as having opportunities to impact the world globally. For me, then, I now redefine courage. And I redefine courage as action while fear exists.
That's good.
So I've been excited to wake up every day and try new things. And now what God is doing, and here's what's crazy, Akeem and Cherise, what God is doing is, like, today I sat at a table with 2 33-year-olds and a 29-year-old turning 30, and they're helping me build out the next dimension of what I want to do in terms of real estate. 33. I mean, how old are you, Akeem?
36.
How old are you, Cherise?
35.
Okay, so now on a Wednesday night, I'm in partnership with a 36-year-old and a 35-year-old. So what's happened for me is that my circle has gotten bigger while getting younger. And so now I'm so motivated and excited because my career is not just waiting for people to show up to a building. My career is Seminary on Sunday, but now it's E3, right? E3 with John Guns. And on Monday, I had a revelation. The revelation was, and it came from a quote from Oprah Winfrey, who was never my favorite person. Could never deny who she was, but she was never my favorite. I know, but see, you gotta remember, I knew the Oprah when she was man bashing 20 years ago.
Okay.
See, I knew that Oprah, Oprah who I don't know if she had man issues or not, but she was pretty tough on men. But the Oprah that emerged for me is a woman that I really highly regard, not just because of the money she has, but because of the genius of her life. And she has this quote, and the quote basically says, people who have courage will never be afraid to ask. So I started asking. So I reached out Monday and I said, hey, E3, empowering, educating, and equipping. I need 100 investors of $56. And guess what? Some people actually gave $56. And here's what I discovered. If your vision doesn't empower you to ask, then you don't have a vision. You have a bad idea that's going to become too stressful. I remember when and I think Tamika's still watching, when we used to go into these meetings and she would always say to me, Bishop, what's the ask? What are we asking for? And I used to be apprehensive. Well, what I discovered was that your career will always be handcuffed until you have the courage to know your value and then to walk out that value in front of other people. So today, and Kiara's watching, and she has just tagged Tori. Today, I'm sitting at table with 3 amazing people, and I asked them, "Hey, Tori James, would you serve on our board, and for Operation Save Our Sons? And Kiara, would you work with Transforming Communities?" And I think her name is Janae or Janaya. I need you to do da 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 da. And I asked, and I discovered something. People will always invest in you when they think you got the confidence to invest in yourself.
That's good.
Okay, I'm done. All right, go ahead. Wow. So Akeem and Sharice, for millennials, for young adults, for your generation, what is it that you see are the steps to getting someone like you, highly educated, highly intelligent, getting you to your next dimension, walking you into your next dimension? What is it that you see as some of the steps to get that done?
So I was talking to Dr. Sharice earlier. I know you all have been doing vision boards, and let me just put myself on the couch. I am a fan of vision boards. Every year I normally do one personally and then for our church, but this is the first year I did not do one intentionally. I was reading this book, I reread this book, One Word That Will Change Your Life, and it challenges you to choose one word each year that will drive your focus. So for me, this year has been discipline. That's my word for the year, for 2021, discipline. Because I discovered, to your point about vision, right, that I have all these ideas, and we always talk about what we want to do, and if we don't do it, right, if you don't have the discipline to do it, John Faison introduced me to this book, The Celebration of Discipline. That most of the time we celebrate visions and celebrate ideas, but we don't celebrate what it takes to follow through. So for me,
Hey, King, somebody wants the author of the book. Can you share that while you're talking?
The Celebration of Discipline is Richard Foster.
Yeah.
I don't know who the author of. It's 2 authors of One Word, but if you Google One Word That Will Change My Life, and it has a 1-word challenge. And so what I've been inspired by, and I'll say this because she's up here, for Dr. Sharice, who works in a geriatric community, who works with people who have hypertension. She has not only taught people, but she's become the brand, going to the gym, working out, shedding pounds. So I know on one hand, we live in a image-driven society. So when she's posting pictures, some people can call it trapping, right? But she's not really doing it. She's really the brand behind it. And I know for me, I'll say, like, to your point about changing your circle, I talked to a pastor today and yesterday, not asking him about, man, how you're developing sermons, but he walked me through, he made $25,000 in the stock market yesterday. And so for our conversations have been different because, like, for instance, there ain't no revivals and no roads and no conferences or workshops where, so even the money had to look different. So I'll be honest, like, he shared with me, and this is not a stock advisor, I'm just sharing openly about, he told me to buy AMC. AMC 2 days ago was $8. Today it shut down at $19, right? So you were able to double AMC, the movie theater. Right now, we know it's probably going to crash in a couple of days, but if you were disciplined enough to put $1,000 in it yesterday, you doubled your money in 24 hours, right? I think we have to, for me, it's been the discipline to not just have ideas, but to come out with the discipline of knowing I have systemically put processes in place to follow my goals and dreams. I'll yield to Sharice.
So I want to piggyback off of Dr. Walker. My word is not discipline. It is not confidence. But this year it is knowledge. I have developed a skill set through pharmacy school that came with, and discipline was one of those things. One of the things that is going to help me succeed is the knowledge, the know-how, doing the research to get it. And oftentimes, I can speak for myself, as a millennial, I want to do something, do the research, not really link up with mentors and people to help. And it has hindered me because of frustration. So what I have learned is that you don't have to do it by yourself. That there are people that have the experience and the know-how. So knowledge is gonna be, key for me in this season if we're using the one word. But outside of that, I've also learned that, and I'll never change this, my prayer life in my career is so essential. It is not going to change. That is me to my core. That is my number one go-to. And I need it so much because I'm dealing with so many souls. I come across so many souls. But I'm going to say this, and I don't know who's watching, but my place of employment is not only a place where I serve my community, but I'm also serving God. You can't imagine how many people I prayed for in this season that have lost members and that have lost family members to COVID, or mentally are not, where they should be. And God has placed me strategically in an environment to where I can do that. So that was a side note, but that's all I have.
That was good.
You want to know what's interesting about this conversation is that when I woke up Monday and I get the prayer life, because I am known for my prayer life.
Yes, sir.
Right. I'm known for, in fact, Akeem and I are a part of a team that leads a national prayer call every week, 7:20 a.m. And it was interesting when it was started with one person coming on. And one day that one person didn't even come on, and I was by myself. And I'll never forget the Lord saying, pray anyway. So I prayed on the prayer call when nobody was there. And so my prayer life sustains me because my prayer life is the test of my integrity and not just my religion. Mm-hmm. It's not religious activity. It's the test of my integrity and my confidence in God. To say that means then, when I woke up Monday, Akeem and Sharice, the Lord gave me two words, and they kind of shift, and the word was be aggressive. Mm-hmm. So I literally started reading. On what it means to be aggressive. And of course, aggression can be negative as much as it can be positive. And then I started kind of altering it. So today during our service team meeting, I'm preparing to do a series of sermons and out of this idea of being assertive, being aggressive. And it's entitled, On Your Mark, Get Ready. On your mark, get set, go. Because basically what I've heard God say, and I need everybody to hear this, which is kind of interesting. We're having this conversation, especially with two high-performing people, right? What's amazing for me is that passivity in a season of crisis makes you a victim beyond repair.
Wow.
That when you function from passivity in a crisis, you become a victim beyond repair. Because basically, your adjusting to the crisis now forces you to need the crisis to change for it to get better for you. But what I've discovered is that God's given us the authority of choice, decision, volition. And when we function by the fact that my destiny is determined by my decisions, not by my condition, then I force my conditions to surrender to my decisions, because now my decisions take authority over conditions that are designed to frustrate me in the passivity.
My Lord.
Wow.
So I'm excited because the Lord told me be aggressive, be assertive. And so I wrote him a little board tonight, right? I know you can't really see it. Let me see it. I wrote him a little board. And so the first thing I wrote was dream. Then I thought it was interesting that Akeem used the word reinvent, because I think the idea of reinvention has been the genius of my journey in this pandemic. And so the first thing I want everybody to do, and if you're watching and you're going to take any notes tonight from us, the first phrase I want you to write down is take initiative.
That's good.
Take initiative. Take initiative. Your career is in your hand. It's not in the hand of your boss. It's not in the hand of the economy, right? It's not in the hand of government. It's in your hand. And if your career is not walking you into places of fulfillment, that's because you're more concerned with finding agreement with conditions than making conditions agree with you. And then I think the other thing is take the initiative by being a student. I think it's awesome that Akeem talked about this whole idea of what he's reading. So like every day, Akeem, I'm reading for 20 minutes. I read every day for 20 minutes. Every day I read for 20 minutes, right? Outside the Bible and outside the other stuff, I read something for 20 minutes. So I'm reading this book that is 30 years old by Tony Robbins, Awakening the Giant in You.
Yes.
And I'm reading this book. Mm-hmm. It's an amazing book. I've been sitting there forever. And I am requiring myself to be everything I need to be without giving the world permission to define me. Okay. All right. That's where I am.
Wow. Bishop, that's a challenge, right? So to everybody watching, before you go on Amazon and buy a new book, read one of those books that's already on your bookshelf, right? Because all of us got all these books on our bookshelf, right? In boxes and unfinished, right? Because we read a couple of chapters, and Dr. Sharice, you notice you're in medicine. It's like this. We take the medicine until we feel better and forget that the rest of the pills are on the table, right?
And so the directions they take until gone.
Right. So we need to read some of those books that's on our bookshelf, and because 30 years later and it's still relevant.
Yeah. Right now I'm reading this is church. Well, The Art of Not Giving.
Oh yeah, I got that book. That's a great book.
Yeah.
Not giving a.
Yes. Yeah. And it is a really good book.
Bishop is like, what are y'all talking about?
So when you talk about reading, I'm like, okay, he's reading, but I mean, it's a really good book for anybody that is, one, you're in a stage of building confidence. Two, you're in the stage of building confidence in your no. I think it's easy for us to say no, but we're not confident in the no. So no is it's a sentence. Mm-hmm. It's one word and it's a sentence. It has duplicity. And so sometimes we need to be solid in that. And so it also goes into when you are awakening the giant, there are going to be some things that happen that is going to offend people. This book is teaching me to walk in my destiny, and you can't worry about what everybody else has to say. You know what you have to do. You know the vision set before you. You know the plan. You got to work it, and it's going to upset a lot of people. Where you're going, a lot of people can't go, and so you got to develop the art of you care, but you don't care. Okay. Because you know what God told you to do. I think oftentimes as people of God, we care a lot about the souls that's connected to us. And I hate to say this, but my bishop he considers everybody way before he considers himself. And we were in the meeting and he said something and I said, no, we're going to do this. And Bishop said, you know what? Maybe you're right, because he is that guy. And sometimes you got to develop that I'm going to push forward because I know this is God, and be okay with that. And so the name of the book may throw you off, but the content of the book is really, really solid and it's really good. So, but read the books on your shelf first.
You want to know what's really interesting, Akeem? And I'll throw this to you. What's really interesting is watching people who emerge, right? And one of the things that this season did was it gave people who had something to offer a place to offer it. I mean, like we look at people like Breonna Parker, who 10 years ago, she had no place to be, not in the Black church. She had no place to be 5 years ago, really. But being in this setting, last night, I do a clubhouse every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. And actually just kind of happened crazily how I ended up even on Clubhouse and now doing it. The reason I'm on Clubhouse because of Ray. And that's something I do want to talk about in a few minutes. But it was interesting to me how someone who is so well versed in what she does had nowhere to express that until the crisis. I mean, and even before the crisis, she was doing her thing. But all of this, the political dynamics, the pandemic, a lot of things created the stability of the platform that she stands on. And so you know a lot of people. You do. You're well connected in ministry. How do people emerge? How do you see, and really both of you can answer this, but how do you see people emerging? What does that mean when someone emerges?
So I read this thing that says the only people that fear ambition are the people who have no vision.
That's good.
Because we were raised, particularly those of us who are clergy, right, to Bishop, you talk about asking. Well, in the traditional Black church, you didn't ask to do stuff, right? Because that was deemed as you being, God would open the door. Well, God has opened the door in this season for anybody that has something to offer. You no longer need someone to let you on stage, because you look at people like a Mark Moore, who has the largest young adult leaders conference in the world. You talk about 5,000 people, and he's built that even now virtually. Breonna Parker, who's doing her thing. A Stephen Thurston, we can go on and on. And so I think now it speaks to, if you are not branding your product that is sustainable with a Clubhouse or Facebook or whatever the social media platform is, you have nobody else to blame, because you don't need anybody else to let you on, because the avenue is there. Dr. Sharice, I'll give it to you,
ma'am. Emerge is such a powerful word. When I think of emerge, I'm thinking of literally springing up out of nowhere. And in this season, when people emerge, that's to Dr. Walker's point, that's exactly what's happening. People are literally coming out of nowhere. And it's through so many different avenues. It's through so many different opportunities that's been presented. But also, when I think about emerge, I think about growth. This season has grown some of us in a way unbelievable stuff that you never knew you were capable of. It clicked like this. It was almost like the adrenaline started rushing. It came in and it never stopped. People were racing to make sure that they were completing tasks virtually and finding ways to do it. So it grew us in a way and exposed us in a way to ourselves of our capabilities. So it was just like our abilities emerged out of nowhere. It's like God shut it down and then emerged us. Like I don't understand that. Like he shut it down and then he said, "Now I'm gonna shut it down, not emerge."
So to Sharice's point, Bishop, I think, and you can attest to this, 10 or 15 years ago, it would have been unheard of, right? For a senior pastor or bishop such as yourself to share a platform with a young pastor such as myself, right? But let's look at what you talked about on Clubhouse, where what God has done has used this chaos to birth not a generation to push another generation out, but the two generations are walking together. It is almost like instead of the Saul and David fight, you now have Elijah and Elijah walking together. Because let's look at the Clubhouse model. You have to be invited up or to unmute yourself to share, right? And so now you have a bishop who is 30 years in and a millennial such as Bree Parker that are not fighting to have the same space, but collaborating, to which your generation who may not have known a Bree Parker, and we know she has her own now, I'm just using for example, now is exposed, and now the people who may not know the Bishop John Guns that preached at the Potter's House, you now become relevant to a generation who may not have known you. And so you have two generations working together in collaboration, which is what the kingdom should be. And so I think it's a merging and a re-emerging of both generations.
Wow.
And you want to know what's interesting, and I want to throw out another word connected to this whole idea of emerging and re-emerging, which I think is spot on. And it's going to almost sound like this word doesn't fit, but I need everybody to hear it in context. I believe that this emerging and this re-emerging, which I think is happening, is the result of one operating out of their magnetic anointing. That we are all capable of attracting something. The question is, are we attracting something that's attractive, or are we attracting something that makes us repulsive? So as I'm experiencing a reemergence, and this pandemic has put me in front of a whole different set of people, and some of the people knew of me, but was amazed as to who I was as we began to engage each other. And so, like for me, like when we started this wasn't how this started. This was Sharice coming to her pastor saying, "Pastor, the young adults need to hear your voice." And so I pulled in my wife, Pastor G, and we came on Zoom. It was 12, 13 people, right? And I'm trying to minister and do Bible study. I'm sweating, speaking in tongues and cursing demons and all this kind of stuff. And then one day we decided to put it on Facebook Live, right? Zoom, Facebook Live. And then all of a sudden Ray mentions to me StreamYard, and then we go on StreamYard, and now we're doing it on Facebook Live and YouTube. And then one day I said, I can't carry this alone. And so Sharice, come on, let's become co-hosts. But then I said, you know what? But I can't even carry it alone with her. And so actually I asked one of my sons, Brandon Moore, because I needed a whole new energy. And I needed somebody who had a prophetic energy. And Brandon sparked it for me. And then all of a sudden I started looking at other opportunities. And I said, this could work. I said, we're not going to worry about numbers, but this can work because content is king. And the one young adult I knew could add was a King Walker. Just knew it. Just knew it I just knew it. And I called him. I said, King, da da da. He said, Bishop, I'm in. And so the other piece that pushes your career is you become a magnet for people who give you the capacity to be better looking than you are. If I was up here 1 hour alone every week, it wouldn't work as well as it's working right now, because what a king brings and what shit. And so for most of us, we've got to get over the ego need to take credit for our success and start sharing our success with other people. We are magnets. So now what I'm checking is who I'm attracting. And I love it. I'm attracting young adults who are actually excited about helping an old man who is on his way to retirement. But I'm attracted. I got young adult kids, Claude and Alexis. Today, Alexis and I had an amazing conversation. And she's getting ready to drop something incredible soon, right? And Claude is, man, he's my dude. He's gifted. I got Deja. Oh, my God. Deja is an entrepreneur. She's a CEO. She's back in school. She's a CEO. Then I got Taylor, who's so creative and so amazing. And here's what's incredible. And so I'm hanging out with King and Sharice, and we're talking about your next dimension of career, because these two are high performers and high thinkers. And here's what's scary. For all of y'all who are watching, here's what's scary. What's scary is that your circle is really the boundary by which you will function in.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
So if your circle is petty, all you're going to have a petty conversation. And so when you start wanting to do big stuff, you're going to be angry because your circle can't match your passion. So like when Clubhouse is over, I mean when this is over, you know what we do is that we may stay up here 45 minutes talking about next week and talking about the future of this. So some of you are watching and you don't like your place. Your place is the result of your choices.
Yes.
Your mama didn't put you there.
Did not.
Because eventually your mama has no more control over your destiny. You do.
Bishop,
and stop saying you're wounded.
To your point about circles, right? You know, the old saying, if you hang around 4 petty or broke people, you're going to be the 5th one, right? And one thing social media has done for us is given us access to people that we would have normally never had access to. If used properly, you can inbox and DM somebody and just, hey, why am I looking at Sharice and hating that her business is booming when I can just inbox her, hey, I see that you posted this dress. Who's your manufacturer? What designer are you using? What marketing? It's so easy to now approach people, but people also don't want their time wasted. And so if you're serious about it, and like you said earlier, you ask blindly on Monday because you heard from what God said. If you ask people, what's the worst they can do is say no. But I think we have to get beyond part of success. I believe the scripture, Job, I think it's Job 40 or maybe Job 42. It says, and when Job prayed for his friends, then the Lord changed his situation. And so part of it is we have to stop hating on people that could really help us. Because I can sit back and hate on what God is doing in Bishop Gunn's life and say, oh, he think he all that. But what that really says is I'm jealous because you've had the go get it or discipline to do what I'm really secretly wishing I could do. And instead of me hating on you, I just need to ask, hey, Bishop, can you help me? And the worst thing you can do is say no.
Wow. It's so crazy you gave that example, because that happened to me. There was a young lady I reached out to via social media, Instagram. I needed her help and advice. And I was afraid, even in my message, I said, I know this sounds weird. I know this is awkward, so forth and so on. But she reached out to me. We began to have a conversation. Mind you, this young lady is married to a football player. And so she says, here's my phone number. She gave me her phone number. We continued to talk. She asked me what it is that I do. I explained it, and I told her what I also do, which is, I'm a stylist. I have the Style App Agency. She then put me in a group of other women that are married to football players that now want to utilize my service. And I didn't even ask her for style tips. This was for something completely different. But God told me to take a leap of faith. But I think it's the fear of rejection. And oftentimes we know that the worst they can say is no, but that's not what we want to hear. So because we don't want to hear it, we don't ask. So it's the fear of rejection. And as many times, and you would think that some of us would be used to it. You know what I mean? Some of us would be used to hearing no. We came up and you couldn't get everything. Your mama said no.
Right.
When you get older, it hits differently. Especially when you're working hard, you have a goal in mind. But I tell you this, had I not done that, I wouldn't be where I am. And I mean, literally put me in a group with thousands of women that are married to men of high value, high financial status. And I'm in there watching these women make all these major transactions, waiting for my moment to emerge to make the money that I know God promised I would make. And it just out of an inbox.
But you know what's amazing, and as I listen to the both of you, and this is so inspiring. What's amazing to me is that your circle, to my next word on my board tonight, expose that I think in a very weird way. Exposure comes because you're willing to put yourself in environments where rejection is possible.
That's good.
And if you're not willing to put yourself in environments where rejection is possible, then you will spend most of your life only choosing to engage people who are easy to be in relationship with.
That's good.
But they're hard to help you grow.
Wow.
They're not built to help you be better. They're only built to assure you that your present state is good enough for them, but it's not good enough for that.
Wow.
This is good.
And so go ahead. No, go ahead, please.
I got something to carry. That's good. Yeah.
We're talking about circles, and this can take an interesting turn. I think we have to provide some integrity to it. That because you are Sharice's pastor, does not make you obligated to promote her just because.
That is
her
correct.
Product, her presentation has to be exposure ready, right? So I think we have to
That's
stop
a good
believing
statement.
that because Sharice is my friend, Sharice is supposed to introduce me when Sharice knows that I don't produce product on time. Heck, she ordered from me and it took me 2 weeks for me to get it. She can't expose that. But so I think we have to be integral to say, this is the season to be, again, disciplined and ready to have your business in order, so that I heard Bishop Noel Jones say something about 10 years ago. He said it would be a shame for you to pray for God to open the door, and when God opens the door, you don't have your coat ready to run.
Good.
You listen. So, I done became like a king. I have stories. So when I started my weight loss journey, I started following this young lady, and she's in Atlanta. I went to Atlanta I started following her, and I said, wow, she's an amazing individual. One day I'm going to meet her. I made this declaration. I went to Atlanta to visit my best friend. We're in the mall. I said, man, that look just like that lady. Walked up to her now. Hey, how you doing? My name is Sharice, so forth and so on. She said, how are you? I said, is your name Kenny Simmons? She says, absolutely. I said, I said one day I was going to meet you. We had a conversation, and after it was over, God reminded me of one thing, two things. One, that because of my obedience, he would not withhold damn good thing from me, including exposure. There was no way possible because when people are really good, they're really busy, which means that if you're really good, you're getting tons of inboxes. And something I heard a pastor say, if they choose if they choose you, it's favor. Okay, it's orchestrated by God. And in this moment, God loved me enough to expose me, and not only expose me, love me enough to not let my fear paralyze me. I said all that to say that when we are, when it's time for a push, okay, when it's time for a push, even when you don't have the courage to do so, if you've been obedient in any season, God will put you in the room. He will put your name in that place. And sometimes you didn't even have the courage to even stand up for yourself, say what you need to say, whatever. But because of your obedience, God will put you in that place. He'll open up the opportunity. I've seen him do
it. Bishop, I know you appreciate this. Your best friend, Bishop Derek Triplett, did King Day for Hampton University 2019. And he used this analogy of when they were building the National African American History Museum. They're building this museum, and they say, we need to put together a concert. Who in the world can put together this concert? They said the only producer that we know can get everybody is Quincy Jones. Now, Quincy Jones is way across in California. They're in DC. They tried to get, I believe it was,
wow.
Was it not Oprah? It was some other celebrity that they could not reach. And here's what somebody said: if you get Quincy Jones, he can get whoever else you need.
Wow.
So to Sharice's point, this is a season of platforms and opportunities to where if you present right and because the Bible says, and your gift, not you, it won't make room for you, it'll make room for your gift. We sometimes interpret that about us. No, it is the gift in us that God will let make room. And so who is it, or what are you doing that when this pandemic is over and somebody says, we need somebody to train on this, that God would drop. They said, we can't do this without a Sharice. We can't do this without a Bishop or Dr. John Guns, because the duality of Bishop is you can switch from Bishop to Doctor, because this now, at one time it was kind of, taboo. Am I Bishop or Doctor? But because you can be academic seminary on Sundays and you can be ecclesial, right, as the bishop, that there are people that have a problem. And here's been my prayer: Lord, make me the answer to somebody's prayer. I don't want God just to answer my prayer. I want him to make me the answer to somebody's prayer. Because somebody is praying for a solution. I want to be the solution to that prayer.
Let me tell you something that's first of all, I've never heard that before. And that is like fresh rhema. That's like, that shouldn't have been given to you. It should have been given to me. Because I have the years in. And that sounds like somebody's got years in. So I'm offended by God giving that to you. And I'm so serious. But let me tell you what's so amazing about that.
Make me the
is most of us don't do the work to be the answer. We ultimately become the question.
Boom.
We don't do the work. And the work isn't done on stages. It's done in classrooms. It's done early in the morning when you're up by yourself. It's done. I remember always talking about Meacham Clark, right? And Meacham was my minister of music. Meacham is one of the most gifted people I've ever met. And when Meacham worked for me, Meacham would come to church every day and he would play in the dark. He practiced in the dark. He never cut the lights on. He practiced in the dark. And the mistake that many of us are making is that we keep looking for the light. The problem with the light is that it exposes the parts of you that are not yet fully developed. Whenever a cake is being baked, it's put in the oven. It's not put on the stove. You can't bake a cake on the stove because all you're going to do is burn the bottom. You bake a cake where it is surrounded by heat. And so right now, as you're listening to us, I think one of the things, and we got 5 minutes left, I think one of the things that I would like each of you to do is kind of give that one piece of advice that you think makes a difference in someone's career and someone's pursuit of success. What is that one thing that you would say to someone succinctly that gives people hope?
I would give a word: agility.
I love that word. Agility. Yes. Yes. And that's the word of the pandemic. Agility. That's a great word.
I'll pick it off Dr. Sharice. I was going to say, always be a student, even if you've arrived to be the teacher. Because Walmart, Target never saw Amazon coming. And the mistake we make is when we become successful, we get complacent. But you don't know that Subway, I don't care how good the sub is, they change the sub of the month every month. I don't care how good that sub selling. The meatball sub keeps selling good this month, but on the 31st, there's a new flavor that they're going to put up for the sub of the month. You cannot become complacent. You always got to be working. Jesus reinvented himself in the Holy Spirit. Jesus, I'm gone. I'm gonna leave the Holy Spirit with you, right? We gotta stay a student. Don't ever become comfortable. And while we say it's not a competition in a negative way, you're always, it is what it is. So you got to remain a student.
Yeah.
I want to close with the final word, and I want to give the final word tonight, because after these two, I'm going to give the final word. And here's the final word: your career is temporary. Your calling is permanent.
Wow.
So
that's why you're bishop.
I almost started speaking in tongues.
So for most of you, you got jobs, but you don't have a sense of fulfillment. Go after. See, these two, like good example. When you look at a king is literally living out purpose, because Akeem is an amazing number 2, and he's an incredible number 1. Yeah. And here's the awkwardness. Sometimes you got to be the second to be the first. And you gotta temper your ego so you don't become consumed by the need to be the first. And what I mean by first, it ain't always being the boss. I mean, first is getting the attention, or first is being the one who has the final decision. God will put you in the room where you make the final decision without having the weight of the decision. How much have you affected Mariner in this season? And I know him. He's a great guy. He's going to listen because he trusts you. And so I want to challenge all of you to just kind of, first of all, get a board, write down what you want. And then, there you go. And then put yourself in an aggressive posture. All right. I'm going to close with commercials, y'all. I'm going to close with commercials. Sharice, what do you got? What are you doing, and where can people find you? We never do this. What do you got? Where can people find you?
I am a stylist. You can find me at the Style App Agency. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. You can check out my work there. There's also a landing page. You can go out there and get more information about me. And on top of that, I do a second podcast outside of this with my best friend called Besties Tell All. Sunday, we're going to be airing, started at 7:00, so tune in.
King, what do you have working, man?
Man, 2 things. I am working on finishing up the book to which the Reverend Dr. Bishop John Eric Guns helped me flesh out the title, The Armor Bearer of the Soul. For clergy, we have people to carry our stuff, who's caring for our souls. I'm excited about that. But then secondly, I'm working on a virtual conference for associate ministers, because what I've discovered is being a number 2, that some things we don't learn until senior pastors get frustrated with associates and number twos because there's something they don't learn until they get in the number one spot. And here's this thing. What are you doing as an associate in the season that will help your man or woman of God? So I'm working on that. We'll be launching that in the spring.
You need to keep us posted because we're going to help you sell that all over the world. Well, let me see. You got 30 minutes. Here's what I'm working on. My new book has dropped. Even in this, I'm okay. You can go right now to bishopjohnguns.info and you can purchase the book. You can download it. We also have hard copies that will be arriving to my house because Ray, come out the dark. Come out the dark, Ray.
Oh, Lord.
Ray, come out the dark. Come out the darkness.
Ray, come
out the darkness. Ray is like the Wizard of Oz. Come on, Ray.
I know, right? So my new book is out, and so you can go right now and purchase my book. You can download it, or by Monday you'll be able to purchase a hard copy, and we will send it to you. There he is. Come on out the darkness, Ray. Come on out the darkness. The other thing is I have launched E3, empowering, educating, and equipping with John Guns. Notice I dropped the doctor because the next phase of my reinvention is becoming I'm not going to use life coach or motivational speaker. I have a new title, empowerment engager. Okay, now there you go. I'm going to become the first empowerment engager. I'm going to define it, I'm going to coin it, and I'm going to make it work. And so every day I do inspirational texts, and you can, and we started with nobody. Now we're up to about 175 people in a week. That's a part of the E3 family. So you can text E3 to 84576, and you can become a part of the you can become a part of the E family, E3 family, and you will get a text every day. Here's the final thing. I need 100 people to join me in becoming an investor for the E3 Engager Circle. A donation of $56, and you become an investor. You will receive my book for free as a download. And the third weekend in March, I'm having my first E3 Engagers weekend, and you get to spend a weekend with me going through the various aspects of living successful, and you get free access. So for $56, so right now you can cash out E3JEG and become an investor in the movement of E3, empowering, educating, and equipping with others for the sake of others' best life. So that's what I'm doing. And Akeem, you know me, you've known me for years. The one thing about John Guns, everybody better understand, when I die, I'm going to die empty. Don't ever hate people who are motivated enough to get up every day and make the devil act right. Ray, what are you doing? Yes, all of you right now. My Cash App need to be blown up. I need at least 5 of you who take the time to watch us for free to now become an investor in E3. But the man behind the scene, let me tell y'all something amazing. This brother here, Ray, the other day, I got on the phone with Ray. Ray reconstructed things that I was thinking about. And that's why you need a Ray Rouson. Don't ever go and not have. So Ray, you got your own business, your own aspirations. Tell us how we can find Ray, the media consultant, the GOAT, Ray Rouson. Tell us. And then we're going to get off here.
Easiest way. What am I working on? I'm actually currently working on a network for church media. One of the things I realized is over the pandemic, everybody learned how to make flyers, but not everybody started thinking. So now you have a group of people who can make flyers and edit videos, but they don't know how to transition their church to this next season. So I'm working on a network of that. Easiest way to catch me is simply this: text Ray Rouson to 84576. We have a community of people. We send stuff out, and we'll see how it is, what your church has, and how we can help you begin to think and plan something custom for your ministry. So you're not just doing what other people do, but you're doing something that you know you'll get results in.
Join us next week, but I'm promising you, Akeem will be back. He may be back next week. He may be back in 2 weeks. We don't even know anymore. He just shows up because he's a king. A king. That's a name for a king. A king. Name for a king. I sounded like my brother for about 10 seconds. We love you guys. Thank you for hanging out with Nightcap with the doctors. Dr. Sharice, the best co-host ever. I would say the prettiest, but every month my wife shows up. So you
That's right. He's the prettiest. Did you?
All right. Thank you guys so much. Yes, some of you have already invested, and I promise you we got your book coming. And the third weekend, it's engaged. It is E3 weekend. I promise you, if you invest, you will be the benefactor. We thank you guys so much, and we're out. So, Sharice, how do we leave? Okay, until we get some music, that's how we go close. So, Keith, you can't watch next time. You got to jump in.
Okay.
We love you guys. See you guys next time.